Corona time got extended by another month by the Dutch government, so you see what's going on right here. You may have guessed it by the title of this video, but today it's a bit of an interesting topic, let's say so. I call it interesting for a number of reasons because it's quite complicated and I don't know if it exists anywhere in the world except for Bosnia. It's some kind of custom thing just to keep all people happy and stopped the fighting back in the day. But now 5 years later, it's causing a lot of problems when it comes to moving on in the country. I'm gonna try and explain it real quick with Google Maps for you. So these outline borders right here is the country of Bosnia and Hercegovina. Within this country you have these two like ketchup stains. That's because it has a really weird shape. This one and this one as well. These two blocks, or yeah, however you want to call these borders. This is the Republic of Serbia, let's say Republika Srpska. It's a separate entity within the Bosnian borders. So this means they are not like they are self-governing on a local level, but not on a international level. So it doesn't matter who the president is in these. It even has its own capital. Banja Luka is the capital of Republika Srpska. But it doesn't matter that it has an own president, because they cannot decide for themselves what Bosnia is going to do. This entire country of Bosnia and Herzegovina is ran by 3 presidents, as said in other videos. And one of the presidents is the guy who governs Republika Srpska. How did this form, to say so? Basically, during the war, Serbian troops, Serbian people there was already a minority of Serbian people living in these areas. So that's point 1. Point 2 is that Serbian forces conquered more land. So like if you find a video on the map on the Bosnian War, a major part of the country like was captured by the Serbian forces, and it got fought back to what it is today. So everything that you see here is like the remainder of the counter-attack or counter-offensive, counter-attack of the Croatians and Bosnians. And to be honest, I don't think a lot or any of it would be left till this day if the fighting would have continued. But NATO decided to stop the fighting and to stop or prevent all sides of committing any more genocide after Srebrenica. And they basically rewarded the Serbian, let's say, the Serbian war atrocities that they committed and war crimes that they committed with an own entity within the borders of Bosnia and Herzegovina. So this entity of Republika Srpska never existed before. There were like majorities of Serbians living in various areas in Bosnia and Herzegovina, but then during the war, everything got displaced. You know how it goes. Like during wars, like people flee all kinds of ways, and weird stuff happens when it comes to the map. This is a bit of a history about this area and how it got formed. A very stupid thing that has been written down in order just to stop the war. At the time, it might have been a great idea to stop any more bloodshed. But now, after these many years, there's quite a, let's say, dividing line, as you can see, within the country itself. And that's not good for political reasons, not good for economical reasons. Fun fact is that it's not a separate country. They really want to be a separate country, but it's not allowed by the agreement that has been signed after the war. It's the Dayton Agreement. And another interesting thing about this is that even though they're not in a different country, when you enter one of these pockets, they have their own flags. They have their own sign which says "Welcome to the Republic of Srpska," and you see Serbian flags everywhere. Like not real Serbian flags, but Republika Srpska flags everywhere. And it gives you the feeling like you're in a different country, but you're not. But that's exactly what they're trying to do, is just propaganda tactics and bullshit just to get their own country. And I found this video. With, of course, with an interesting title, will Bosnia break up and could Republika Srpska really secede? And I found it a really interesting topic since, I just explained you how many problems it's causing and how it formed and yada yada yada. How it's dividing the country basically in two parts, even though it's still one country. It's weird. I know it's hard to understand if you're not from the area or if you're having trouble understanding it. But let's check out what he has to say about it.
It's now been a quarter of a century since the brutal and bloody civil war in Bosnia and Herzegovina came to an end. And yet there's still a real fear that the country could break apart. In this video, I'll look at whether Republika Srpska...
There's a real fear the country would break apart? I disagree. I highly doubt anyone is actually thinking that it's possible.
The Bosnian Serb entity could secede. As I'll show, it's a lot harder to do than many imagine. However, even the mere talk of secession is having dangerous effects. Hello, welcome to Independent Thinking, a channel dedicated to international relations, statehood, independence and the origins of countries. My name is James Ker-Lindsay. The 1990s saw some of the most brutal and bloody conflicts in Europe since the end of the Second World War. In 1990, the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia broke apart, sparking a series of conflicts that would ravage the Western Balkans for the next decade. Perhaps the most brutal of these took place in Bosnia-Herzegovina, where Bosnian Serbs and Bosnian Croats fought to break away and unite with Serbia and Croatia respectively. In 1995, the civil war came to an end. Under the terms of the so-called Dayton Peace Agreement, the Bosnian Serbs agreed that their self-proclaimed entity, Republika Srpska, would be reintegrated into the Bosnian state, albeit with a high degree of autonomy. Over the course of the following decade, it seemed as though Bosnia was on course to slowly recover and rebuild. A number of major steps towards reconciliation took place, including the successful creation of a unified military. However, over the past decade and a half,
alright, that's also a funny thing. They have like their own police, their own flags and everything, trying to be independent or try to actually, let's say they try to form another country. Yet the army from Bosnia and Herzegovina includes them as well, the Serbs, and they cannot have a different army than the one army of the Bosnia and Herzegovina as a country itself.
Progress has stalled. In fact, Bosnia has steadily slid backwards. Efforts to bring about much-needed constitutional reforms have failed. Meanwhile, political deadlock has grown between the communities. Perhaps the most destabilising development has been growing talk that the country may yet collapse. This has been fed by repeated statements from senior members of the Bosnian Serb leadership that Republika Srpska might try to break away from Bosnia and either form an independent state or else unite with neighbouring Serbia. Could Republika Srpska really break away from Bosnia? In truth, it's very hard to see how it could actually happen. For a start, there are extremely strong legal and political obstacles. Under the terms of the Dayton Peace Agreement, Republika Srpska is explicitly prohibited from seceding from Bosnia.
Ta-da! So even though the West gave them the land, they already predicted that they would try to pull some bullshit like this in the future, and they already prohibited from actually becoming independent.
This has been stated by UN resolutions and confirmed by the International Court of Justice. A unilateral declaration of independence would therefore be contrary to international law. Even if they went ahead and did it anyway, any attempt to proclaim independence would gain little traction. As has been seen in other cases, the international community strongly opposes unilateral acts of secession. Any declaration of independence would therefore be immediately opposed by the United States, the European Union, and many other countries around the world. This would mean that it would gain few, if any, recognitions. Republika Srpska would immediately become a pariah on the world stage. There'd also be very real practical consequences. Any declaration of independence would immediately result in economic sanctions. In all likelihood, the EU would take immediate steps to restrict all business and trading activity with the entity. Additionally, its borders with the rest of Bosnia and neighbouring Croatia would be closed. If nothing else, this would mean that a large part of northern Republika Srpska would immediately be left isolated.
Ta-da! So go ahead and do it, and you'll basically just run your own country into the shit, because everyone's just gonna block you off, and then you can have your own little island of independence. You can have it. What use is it? What kind of use do you have for it? And this is not something that only applies into Bosnia. I think it applies into your entire region. Everyone wanted their own country and their own independent little mother... Okay, I'm just gonna not swear. Little islands, countries, and still shit. Like, when you work together, you can actually achieve something, and having your own little island and isolating yourself from each other, that's not helping that whatsoever.
On top of this, all international air traffic into the territory would be suspended. In order to survive in such cases, most breakaway territories therefore need what is usually called a patron state. In this case, the obvious patron would be Serbia. However, there's little indication that the Serbian government would want to support an attempt to form an independent state, let alone an effort to unite with Serbia. Supporting either move would have massive implications for Serbia. By being seen to support an illegal secession, it too would almost certainly be put under international sanctions. This would not only undermine its economy, it would wreck all the progress that it's made in rehabilitating its image on the international.
So basically, if they're gonna cry for Serbia to help them out, then Serbia is gonna get the same punishment as they are. That's the whole thing. So just because of the Dayton Agreement and the way it has been set up and the things that they're propaganding in Bosnia, it's just not possible. That's why I knew this already before watching this video, and I found it a bit weird that he said, yeah, there's a real fear. But none of the Bosnians that I know, that I've spoken to, and my friends in Bosnia, and etc., said that they actually experience any fear about that. They just find it weird. That's it. They just find it weird and annoying that the guy is just constantly saying it, and they find it weird that they have their own flags and stuff, and that they literally have their own Cyrillic alphabet instead of the Latin alphabet everywhere in Republika Srpska, really trying to claim the land and do everything they can just to make it look Serbian, even though it's not. And I agree, it's just weird. Like, you're trying to achieve something impossible and you keep forcing it. Well, it's not gonna work. And even though if you try to pull one of those moves, you're gonna be like completely destroyed by the international community. It's just, the guy who's running it is also a bit of a knobhead, really a weird guy, and he's known for that. He's done really stupid and provocative or provoking stuff, let's say so, in the past, and just a bit real weird, dodgy stuff going on.
National stage since the wars of the 1990s. In view of this, some have suggested that Russia might instead be willing to act as a patron. Again, this seems highly unlikely. For a start, there'd be little to be gained from recognising an independent Bosnian Serb state. Moscow's efforts to secure recognition for the breakaway territories of Abkhazia and South Ossetia, which broke away from Georgia, have had poor results. It seems unlikely it would want to embarrass itself again by acting as a cheerleader for a territory in which it has little direct interest. Moreover, Russia would be in little position to offer much needed practical support for a breakaway Bosnian Serb state. There's no direct land links to either Serbia or Republika Srpska. Indeed, it can't even reach the region by either land or air without passing through NATO territory, which almost certainly would be blocked in such a case.
It would be blocked, yeah, so Russia ain't gonna help you out either.
All things considered, there would seem to be little that Russia could do or would really want to do. For these reasons, it seems hard to see how any unilateral declaration of independence could succeed, or why any country would have any interest in trying to support it. However, while a declaration of independence would seem doomed to failure and thus seems unlikely to happen, this doesn't mean that there's no reason for concern. While there would seem to be no realistic prospect that Republika Srpska could break away from Bosnia, the mere fact that its leadership constantly suggests that it could is enough to destabilise the country in various ways.
Exactly, just because they're repeating it, it's causing a lot of chaos, because they just want attention all the time. But that's not only from their side, it's also the Bosnian side. They're also saying stupid shit all the time. It's just the politicians in Bosnia saying stupid shit in general, like all the time. Instead of moving forward, just reminding people of everything that happened in the war all the time. they're just exploiting that to gain votes, and it's absolutely retarded. And I just don't want to get into the political stuff anymore about Bosnia. I made a video about that a while ago, like 2 years ago, I think, or 1 year ago. Why it is brainwashing people and stuff. It's just so stupid that just doesn't deserve the word. So, but as he says, it's enough to destabilize a country.
As the old maxim goes, what people perceive to be real is real in its consequences. In this sense, constant talk of breaking away is increasing tensions in the country. In many ways, it's just as destabilising, if not actually more destabilising, than an actual act of secession that could never realistically succeed. I hope you found this video useful.
Good to know that this guy writes books and papers about the area, and he has worked on this entire area, as in the ex-Yugoslav area, for the past 30 years. So he's really deep into all the information that's available about the area, knows a lot about the laws and stuff. So if you want to check out his channel, I'll leave the link to the original video in the description down below, so you can check it out and check out his other content. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think that it is possible for, well, I think the video already made it clear that it's not possible. What do you guys think of Republika Srpska? And even if you're from there, what do you think of the way they are doing the politics right now? And also from all sides, of course, but because the video is a topic of Republika Srpska, I'm just trying to focus on that. What do you guys think about it? People who are living there, if you're watching my video, don't you find it weird with the different languages, the different flags, and the whole different mentality that's going on from like having two sides and stuff? I hope you guys like this so far, and I see you guys in the next video. Ciao.
Perfect.